Welcome into KCTV5 Plus on this Tuesday. Election Day is finally here. Kansas voters are heading to the polls to decide on a number of important races across the metro. One of those is the race for KCK mayor.
Yes, and it is between two women, Crystal Watson and Rose Mulvaney Henry. One of those candidates will replace Mayor Tyrone Gardner.
We want to thank you so much for joining us. I'm Janae Hancock here with Taylor Johnson, and we are now joined by KCTV5's Nathan Brennan, who is live at Oak Ridge Missionary Baptist. Nathan, I see those polls right there behind you. How has voter turnout been so far this morning?
Hey, Janae, Taylor, good morning. We're here in Western Wyandotte County, about a mile from the Legend. So all these voters here are going to be Western Wyandotte County voters. And I would say there's probably about a dozen people in here right now casting their ballots. We've seen a pretty steady flow of voters here this morning. Again, polls open here in the state of Kansas at 7 o'clock this morning. They will be open until 7 o'clock later tonight. So here in Western Wyandotte County, definitely a steady flow of voters. I actually spoke with one volunteer as well that said that early voting numbers were pretty good too. So pretty high turnout as expected for this type of election, especially when it comes down to mayor, which is one of the really most important roles in any type of local government. So definitely seeing pretty good turnout here so far this morning.
Yeah, and I mean, as you mentioned, this election today for families in Wyandotte County, it is pretty critical with the mayoral race. So, I mean, what could you tell us about the candidates, what they've had to say leading up to today?
Well, we've spoken with them several times here so far, Taylor, and a big topic of conversation from the voters that I've spoken with and then both of the candidates as well is property taxes. That's, of course, going to be at the top of everyone's mind, especially when it comes to a local election, when you're electing some of those local leaders. You can head to our website, KCTV5.com, KCTV5 News app. We have a full layout because we've spoken with these candidates several times leading up to Election Day. Maybe a little bit different viewpoints, and how they're going to handle those property taxes. Again, you can find all of that on our website as well, but it's definitely grabbing the attention of voters because similar to what we've seen on the Missouri side of the state line, Kansas side of the state line is exactly the same. Property taxes seems to be one of the top issues of all voters' lists.
All right. Thank you for staying on top of everything, as always, Nathan. I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you in our new newscast.
And as Nathan mentioned, we do want to direct you to our website, KCTV5.com. You can also download the KCTV5 News app. But again, this is posted on our homepage. Currently, you can see the election results. We'll have that posted a little bit later tonight when the polls close, as well as registration status, where you can actually vote and how you can vote and what you are voting on. And again, this is just the beginning of our coverage here at KCTV5. I know, Taylor, we will have extensive coverage right here at our streaming desk, KCTV5 Plus, a little bit later on this evening, especially as the polls close. So we'll keep you posted on everything that's happening across the metro. But we do want to continue on this morning, Taylor, with the mayoral races.
Yeah, so KCK isn't the only spot that we're keeping our eyes on. So there are other mayor races that are up for grabs this election cycle, including DeSoto, Merriam, Mission Hills, Overland Park, and Basur.
And as for the voters in Jackson County, today you will decide on making the counter assessor an elected position. Right now, Gail McCann Beatty is currently in the role appointed by former county executive Frank White Jr. She faced controversy over the 2023 property tax assessments.
But also in Jackson County, this is another situation that has been a topic for a while. The Independent School District voters are going to decide today whether to keep their 4-day school week. Now, this was adopted, the schedule, in 2023 after a vote in 2022. So we will find out later today if this will continue or if it'll change.
And again, polls close at 7 this evening in both Kansas and Missouri. But if you are in line before then, you will still be allowed to vote. That is very important. We're always going to remind you of that on Election Day. So don't forget, you will need to bring a photo ID with you. KCTV5 has you covered for your local elections, and you can find everything once again about what you need to know on your ballot. All you have to do is click on our election guide story at KCTV5.com, and you can also open your KCTV5 News app and tap top stories to find it.
All right, now continuing coverage on the government shutdown, which is making an infamous milestone today. 35 days in one big disagreement over a federal budget bill. And all eyes are on senators in Washington this morning as lawmakers flirt with the record books. But relief is on the way for millions of Americans who are feeling the impact of the SNAP program. The Trump administration did announce partial payments for November, and KCTV5's Gabby Luma is joining us with the latest.
I'm KCTV5's Gabby Luma here in front of a Price Chopper that's just one of many grocery stores throughout the Kansas City area that accepts SNAP benefits. Now, we know with this government shutdown, it's been impacting SNAP benefits. But yesterday, the Trump administration announced they'll be using $4.6 billion from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to help fund the program, at least until the government shutdown ends. So what does that mean for you? These payments will be 50% of what you usually get. So for a family of 4 in Missouri, when you normally get $975, that'll be just under $500 for this month. Now, if you are needing any assistance until you receive those benefits, again, they may be delayed, you can go and see the list of locations of food banks and pantries on our KCTV5 app and website.
Again, that was KCTV5's Gabby Luma reporting. Missouri Congressman Mark Alford was back in Kansas City speaking with his constituents over the government shutdown. He offered up a free meal before heading back to Washington. KCTV5's Chandler Watkins talked with Alford and voters who asked why it's taking so long to end the shutdown.
The same shopping center where his district office is located, Congressman Mark Alford met with constituents and offered them a quick meal. Hot dogs, drinks, and chips were handed out, but that wasn't the main reason people were there.
You guys have any issues concerning the shutdown? Anything I can answer for you?
He says most have come to him confused, asking why there hasn't been any negotiations.
I hear this a lot. It's time for us to come to the table. There's no table to come to. We did our job on September 19th by funding the government. The Democrats are standing in the way of that.
ACA healthcare plans are at the center of this shutdown fight. Alford joins other Republicans in saying it can be discussed after the government reopens. Alford and his constituents agree the shutdown needs to end.
Why should you hurt innocent people out there? You know, there's people out there that can't get their food, and they should be getting their food stamps.
Reporting in Raymore, Chandler Watkins, KCTV5 News.
Well, the court case to recall Missouri's new redrawn congressional map that you see here is now on pause. A Missouri court will decide whether or not to count tens of thousands of signatures for the new map. So far, 92,000 names have been collected of the 100,000 required. The lawsuit is in protest of the effort by Republicans to flip the Democratic seat held by Emanuel Cleaver. It redraws the state's congressional districts by splitting up Kansas City. Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins says he will not accept the signatures a group collected to recall the map. It's because they were collected before he approved the petition. The group, People Not Politicians, argues that this is an overreach of power.
The attacks that are coming from politicians are attacks on the 100,000 voters who've already asked their government to exercise their constitutional right to a referendum and have a chance to have the final say.
A judge will hear this case next week.
A piece of street art meant to beautify the Waldo area now has tire marks all over it after street racers picked the intersection, as you can see here on your screen, as a spot to do donuts. KCTV5's Grace Smith is there where she has been talking to the community about the impact.
Devastated. It was heartbreaking to see that.
Just 2 weeks ago, Councilman Jonathan Duncan stood alongside other city leaders cutting the ribbon on the newly revitalized intersection at 75th and Warnell. That was then, and this was Friday night.
To the people who participated in this, one, you should be ashamed on yourself.
According to KCPD, the initial call came in around 12:15 a.m. and officers got to the intersection just before 12:40. They used the police helicopter and stop sticks to break up the incident. They say no one has been arrested.
It was a little sad, honestly.
It wasn't a pleasant sight for Lexi Reynolds, the store manager at Refill Soap Station, as she drove into work.
Yeah, they've worked so hard to make this like a lot nicer.
The 18-month project totally transformed the intersection and the areas around it, making it safer for drivers, pedestrians, and bikers. Complete with the Waldo logo in the center, which is now covered up.
We will replace that streetscape.
Duncan says he's working with KCPD and the city to add prevention measures like these grooves you see in other parts of the city.
But some folks say, why would we replace it when we would just be a target again in the future? But for me personally, I'll be damned if I let knuckleheads decide whether or not we have nice things.
In Kansas City, Grace Smith, KCTV5 News.
All right, so this is another story that we've been covering for a long time and still waiting to figure out what the answers are going to be. Well, now the Royals, they want to know your thoughts on where they should play ball. The team is sending out surveys to fans, which includes a list of potential sites for a new ballpark, including downtown KC, North Kansas City, and Overland Park. The survey also gives details about the surrounding development in each area. It's after Jackson County taxpayers shot down the team's request to fund a new downtown stadium last year. Since then, both Kansas and Missouri have made up their own offers to lure the team away or incentivize them to stay. So the saga continues.
Yeah.
We'll just wait to see.
And so it continues. The Kansas City Chiefs, we want to give you an update on the team as well. They don't have to play a game this week, but they are getting a key piece back. Rookie offensive tackle Josh Simmons returned to the team facility. He missed the last 4 games due to personal reasons. The Chiefs' first-round pick has been a critical protector for Patrick Mahomes' blindside this year. He's only allowed just 1 sack in 3 games played.
All right, and as Janae just told us, the Chiefs don't have a game this week, but they will have a tough one in 12 days. We know somebody here has a little personal tie to this one. They're going to travel to the Mile High City to take on Bo Nix and the division-leading Broncos. And you can watch the game right here on KCTV5, game time at 3:25 on November 16th. We're going to have to go watch this one, Janae.
Oh, yeah. I will. We're going to a watch party, actually,
Yes.
now that I'm thinking
We're going to watch
about
this
it.
one.
Because this is one to definitely not miss.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that a lot of people will be looking forward to, Taylor, I'm sure. Speaking of the Chiefs, you can spend Turkey Day at Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes' new restaurant. There's a new special menu celebrating the holiday. You can begin making reservations starting at 10 this morning, so 12 minutes
Better
ago.
hurry up.
It will only be available on Thanksgiving Day. And if it's anything like when the restaurant first opened and people were booking those reservations.
You're already late.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah, you're...
You might have missed the boat.
You're 30 minutes late at this point.
Good luck with that. Well, tonight, our KCTV5 tower is once again going to light up the skyline like it does every night. So we've been experimenting with a different range of colors and patterns. I know I've seen on my way to work like a rainbow look and it's flashing. They do all types of stuff with it. Well, tonight, it's going to be lit up KC Baby with a KC Current themed light show ahead of this weekend's playoff match against it says at CPKC Stadium. I thought it said who it was against. But anyway, they were here yesterday with the shield, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that thing looked heavy.
Yes.
Danny carrying that thing. Yeah, it looked definitely heavy, but I always look forward to looking at our tower on my way into work. I think it was lit up, I want to say teal this morning, or maybe it was red. I don't know.
Maybe they were practicing for the show. But teal and red are part of the current colors.
Yeah,
so maybe
you're
they were practicing.
I feel like it was teal this morning. But
yeah,
don't quote me, guys. Definitely watch for tonight.
And it gets dark earlier now, so it'll probably light up a little sooner. Yeah. So you can see it.
You can check it out if you go to bed early. So.
All right.
Alrighty. Speaking of checking things out, we do want to take a live look over the Country Club Plaza if you're preparing to head out the door. A beautiful day today. Kind of a tease because I feel like it's been cold and now we're back. And so we're going to leave that up to meteorologist Warren Sears. He's going to join us back right here after the break to give you a better look at your forecast today and in the coming days and what you can expect. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. I'm First Warn 5 meteorologist Warren Sears. Happy Tuesday. Wow, it is so nice out there already today. Temperatures are very mild to kickstart the day, and you've got lower 70s in store this afternoon. It definitely feels almost like spring out there. You got a little bit of a gusty wind out of the south, kind of one of those days as we transition from winter to spring. It feels like that out there today. So you'll enjoy lots of sunshine, and I hope you can find some time to get outside. Maybe you did before work, or maybe you can right after work before the sun sets. But yeah, definitely a solid day, and we have a lot to look forward to over the next few days. But then we have a pretty big stir up of the atmosphere later on this week. So here's what you need to know. We're going to stay warm for quite some time. We've got temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees above normal. Today is actually more on that 15 degree above normal category. And then later on this week, we have a few more days that might be windy as well. Today is definitely on the windier side. Picking up out of the south. We have some gusts about 30 miles per hour. Thursday looks like it could be a bit windy, and then also Saturday night into Sunday, a significant cold front comes through. So big weekend changes are on the way. Your next strong fall front, these are typical this time of the year, but your next big front comes in again Saturday late evening, more into the overnight and early Sunday. That will bring a huge change from your Saturday to your Sunday. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. But I want to focus on the huge positive, which is today. 61 degrees already. It is just about 10:17, and we are all pretty much in the 60s. Looks like Maryville and Bethany. You're a little behind in Chillicothe, but just by a few degrees. 61 in Kansas City right now. The warmest reading in Lacine at 64. Hey, before we get into the forecast, one thing I do want to note, the November Hunter's full moon is today. It did set this morning around 5:42, but it will rise again at 4:27, and that is technically when it will be at its fullest into tonight. It's actually the closest moon of 2025, meaning it will be a little bit brighter, and because it's a supermoon, the way the orbit, it's an elliptical orbit, and the way that is situated, it's actually a little bit closer to the Earth as well. So just something that could enhance it a little bit. It's not going to be significantly different, but it will be a little bit brighter out there, and we'll have clear skies in place. So enjoy that. It should be really cool as it rises around 4:30, and make sure you send us your pictures if you get to see it. You can send them to the news desk, or you can send them. You can find that on our website, and or you can send them to me, meteorologist Warren Sears. We'd love to see what you got out there. All right, so today we'll go 66 degrees or so here at about 11, 72 at 1, and 73 by 3 p.m. That's your high temperature forecast today, 73 degrees. A couple of high clouds, but for the most part, lots of sunshine out there today. Your gusts are starting to pick up late morning and into midday. They could be as high as 35 miles per hour. I think more of the 30 to 35 range looks pretty respectable out there today. So that should start to fall off into the evening. Then overnight, it looks pretty quiet. It might be, there might be a noticeable southwest breeze, but it's not going to be horribly gusty or anything like that. It'll just be present. But your morning low out there on Wednesday is actually going to be about 10 degrees above our normal. So, hey, we'll take it. 49 instead of 39 for Wednesday morning, and pretty much everybody across the board is going to be in the 40s and low 50s. So it's a mild and comfortable start. It will be a little cool, obviously, especially while the sun's not up. But by the afternoon, we do have a front that starts to work in. The front works in more so right in the morning, so that will scale a few degrees off of your high temperatures out there in the afternoon. 64 degrees, that is the forecast high. It's a weak cold front. It's a dry cold front, and you should still get to see plenty of sunshine on Wednesday. But we are playing a little temperature tug-of-war here over the next few days. Still, though, even with the 10-degree change, you're above normal at 64. 70 back on Thursday. Most of the day is dry completely. But later in the evening and into the early overnight, there's a small window where we could see a few showers. It's just a 30% confidence at this time. So, again, Thursday's not impacted with rain. But late in the evening after dinner, and even closer when you're heading to bed, that could kick out a few of those light showers. And then Friday looks like a great day at 68. So this is what radar could look like here. This specific computer has been a little bit more aggressive than some of the other ones. Some of the other ones are coming through a little bit more dry. But nonetheless, I think those of you across northern Missouri, late Thursday, you'll have a slightly better chance than the rest of us to see a couple of those showers. Now, this is firing up on yet another front. We have multiple day after day kind of swinging through. They come through mostly dry, but this one does have a little bit of moisture to play with, so there could be a couple of those light showers anytime after 8 or 9 p.m. Thursday evening. And then you can see here, this is a quick window where by Friday morning, all of this is way out of here. Now, one thing I do want to note, we're seeing some signs now on Saturday of a larger system passing by to the north. That also could steal a couple of showers on your Saturday. Right now, I just added a 20%. This is new, so I want to keep tabs on it, but it's only Tuesday, so we'll see how this pans out. But the morning on Saturday right now might have a random sprinkler shower. I think a bulk of that big system does pass just off to our north. But yeah, that's blue and pink in there. That could be a little wintry mix, maybe even some snow to our north, and our friends to the north across Iowa, maybe Wisconsin, Minnesota, and northern Illinois. They could have a little wintry mix out there, maybe even some snow, wet snow on Saturday. So at this point, I'm not worried about it here, but it won't take a huge shift. If that system were to somehow track south a little bit, that could be something we talk about. So we'll watch Saturday closely, but right now it does just look to be maybe a few light rain showers here. Since September 1st, we are very dry. I know it's no secret to you, we have a pretty significant drought going on. So this is just since September 1st. We even had a pretty big deficit in August as well. But we're about half of the rainfall that we should be. So 3.69 inches officially what we've recorded at MCI, but normal is 7.5. So again, definitely shy, and we need more rain. But even with that system passing by Thursday night, our computers are only suggesting maybe seeing a 1/10 of an inch of rain across northeastern Missouri, and not really a whole lot for us. So I'm not too sold on us getting impacts, but that is something that could at least unfold where you get maybe a 1/10 of an inch briefly. So the big story, in my opinion, here this week is going to be temperatures. We are in the warm sector for many days. Your afternoons are comfortable. You've got warm temperatures even all the way up into the Dakotas through Thursday. Now, Friday, if you look to the north, some colder air starts to spill in, but we're still on the warm sector out ahead of that. But you're starting to see the Dakotas and Minnesota, Wisconsin, they're going to get impacted by this colder air first. That front continues to retreat farther south for Saturday, but still we're just out ahead of that out ahead of the cold front in the warm sector. But watch what happens Saturday evening and into your Sunday morning. That is a big cold front. It is substantial. It punches the entire country for the most part. I mean, all the way down into Texas, all the way down into Arkansas, Louisiana, then Mississippi, Tennessee. So this is a real pungent front. This is typical this time of the year. We get these bigger systems, but this front is going to be some of the coldest air that some of us have felt in a long time. And I think that some temperatures up to the north are going to be pretty darn chilly, very winter-like out there. So that is your Saturday night into Sunday. That's when I'm expecting the biggest swing in those temperatures. So weekend forecast, I think Saturday right now, that's the outside day. I would plan things for Saturday. I would try to not do as much outside on Sunday. It doesn't look like a very nice day. Much colder, 45. I mean, that's almost a 20-degree swing in just one day for high temperatures. And you've got a northwest breeze that will be kicking in about 10 to 20 throughout the day on Sunday. So that'll probably make it feel even chillier than that. So big difference between your two weekend days. And that sadly means that the current game looks pretty chilly. 42 at 11:30 for kickoff there. At least it'll be mostly sunny, it looks like, but a northwest wind 10 to 20. Again, that will just be, it'll be cold. It'll definitely have a bite to it throughout the day on Sunday. So out before that happens, though, we've got beautiful conditions, 73, 64, 70, 68, 63. Even Saturday looks nice right before that front starts to punch in the afternoon. Once that front starts to work in later in the day on Saturday, though, you've got 32 as your morning low Sunday, and then only 45 Sunday afternoon. I think this will even impact your Monday as well. I think Monday stays chilly, only at 48. So that morning low of 28, yeah, that'll be a little tough out there too. So we've got some really pleasant mornings until the end of the week, and then early next week you have some bigger changes to where it almost feels a little more winter-like, or real late fall, early winter-like. But let's focus on the positive. You have some really nice air here that is going to hang out with us until then. So lots to look forward to here this week. Today's a beautiful day. Wednesday's a beautiful day. Again, Thursday, don't let that 30% really. That's at night. So I think that for the day time frame before and after work, no issues there. Around dinner, no issues. But then the later you go, we could see a few impacts to some of you in northern Missouri. You have the better chance for some showers. So that is a look at your forecast. I hope you enjoy. I'm excited to be off here shortly so I can go walk the dogs. It's so nice out and get some sun. Again, mostly sunny skies. Got some high clouds out there, but for the most part, you will be able to soak it all in. All right, enjoy your day. And Janae and Taylor will be back here very soon. Stick with us.
Thanks for staying with us here on KCTV5 Plus. I am Taylor Johnson, and as you may have felt in the last few days, fall is in full swing, and with that means winter is coming soon. So you might be ready to turn up your thermostat. Inspire. They want you to know some of their simple and affordable ways to keep your home comfortable and energy efficient in the months to come. And to talk with us all about it is Daphne Orphy with Spire. Thank you so much for being with us today, Daphne.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Awesome.
So, one of the first tips that we typically give homeowners is to be sure to have that furnace serviced annually and to check that furnace filter monthly and make sure that it's changed as needed. That's probably going to offer the most savings overall. So, that's our first and best tip.
And so, at what point, so I know you say to check before, we get to the winter, what time of year do you suggest, and what should we be looking for when we are checking our furnaces?
So you do want to make sure that that filter is clean. What we suggest is to check that furnace filter, set a specific time, say maybe daylight savings time. That's a good time because it comes around every year. And so that could be an added reminder for you to make sure that you have it serviced. But we suggest that that furnace filter is checked monthly. Different furnace sizes and capacities will require that furnace to be changed at different intervals. So you want to get to know your furnace and change that filter accordingly.
Well, with daylight saving being one of the times that you recommend, it means it's time to check now because our time just changed over the weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about, in my home, I have a Nest thermostat that can
Yes.
help to control things. What are your recommendations when it comes to that? And then for those who don't have those smart thermostats, what are some tips that they can keep in mind?
So I do want to point out that right now Spire offers a rebate on those smart or Wi-Fi enabled thermostats. So you certainly want to go to our website and learn more about that. And as you mentioned, we encourage everyone to consider installing that programmable thermostat. You want to have it adjust temperatures while you're sleeping or away from home.
Awesome. And so what is a good temperature to keep your thermostat at, maybe when you're away versus when you're at home?
So our basic go-to is 68 degrees. If you keep your furnace at 68 degrees, you can always put on a sweater if you get cold, or you can remove clothing if you get warm. That'll keep everything at an even temperature. It'll help lower the cost of that bill, and it won't put extra strain on your furnace as well. So, but certainly, adjust it to your liking, but our recommendation is around 68 degrees.
I also see a tip here that you all have about how to use drapes and curtains to help keep your space warm during the day.
Absolutely. We suggest that you do use those things like drapes and curtains. You want to keep them closed, certainly at night to help keep the heat in, but you want to open your blinds and your curtains during the day. You want to let that sunlight in, help it to warm your spaces, especially around this time of year. I know there's a little back and forth with this weather, but we all know it's coming. So now is the best time to start preparing those items.
Yeah, and also there's some information too about maybe sealing areas where the cold air could come in. So would it be like maybe your front door, your back door, windows?
Absolutely. So you want to make sure that your air is not escaping, like you said, around your doors, around your windows. And one thing that we do suggest, we call it the dollar bill trick. You want to put a dollar bill in your door jamb, close that door. If you can remove that dollar bill, that means that air is escaping. So you want to then get some weather stripping or some other sealant. You want to make sure that you go around those doors, also around those windows. And it's quite simple. It's something you can do for yourself at home. You can use your hand and just feel around and see if you feel any air coming in. If you do, that means that heat is escaping.
That's useful information. And, we're also in a time right now where some folks are going through and they may need some assistance when it comes to their utilities. Is there anything that Spire offers for folks who might find themselves in a pinch this winter, or, just going through some difficulties?
Absolutely. So we do have a number of assistance programs, and all that information can be found on our website. But I do want to highlight our weatherization program. That is a program that we partner with community action agencies in the area, and we offer assistance to low income households. What will happen is a professional audit will be done. You'll be given free home upgrades like shower aerators and stuff like that. And it will offer free customer education on ways that you can weatherize your home and some energy efficiency tips. So certainly go to our website, www.spireenergy.com, to find out all information about our programs and that weatherization program.
And do you also have just any safety tips as we get to this time of year when it comes to, using a furnace or a thermostat, just making sure that you don't hurt yourself or set your home on fire or anything like that?
Absolutely. So we want to make sure that everyone in the community is safe. You want to have that furnace checked by a certified professional. If there's any issues with it, if it's running a little ragged, you want to make sure that you do have that checked. You want to just make sure that your home, like as we were saying, is insulated and weatherized. And if you're unable to provide those things, that weatherization program is free to anyone who qualifies. So there are programs that we offer here at Spire to help with making sure that your home is as safe as possible.
And as you mentioned, the weather has been so up and down these days. It's like, when is it finally going to hit us? So these are some very timely tips as we get ready for that, because I'm sure it's going to catch us all off guard. So we for sure want to
Yes.
be ready.
Absolutely. And for more information on Spire's weatherization program or any of our programs, just feel free to visit our website, or you can contact your local community action agency.
Awesome. Well, Daphne, thank you so much for your time and sharing this very useful information for us. We could all use those tips in our daily lives, especially as it starts to get cold outside. And we'll be
Absolutely.
sure to share this amongst our viewers. So with that, we are going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back into KCTV5 Plus and another edition of News You Can Use. I'm Janae Hancock here with Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. Josh, how's it going?
It's going great, Janae. Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you and happy Tuesday to you. Always good to have you here on KCTV5 Plus. I want to jump straight into it, Josh. As the government shutdown continues, it is now day 35. And, you know, a lot of people are still dealing with the fact that they do not have their SNAP benefits that they once had last month, for instance. And so there are people who are willing to give and want to help people, but there are also scammers who are out there trying to take their money. So can you tell us a little bit more about the red flags that people should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, Janae, understandably, there's a lot of confusion, right? That I think a lot of Americans are experiencing in real time. How do I get the food I need to survive? How do I get access to the resources that I need to survive? And as a result, anytime there's confusion, that puts consumers on their heels a bit. It certainly puts them at a disadvantage when they interact with scammers. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities primarily on social media, but also through things like direct mail, direct phone calls, SMS messaging involving government agencies or government agency work that you currently can't access. So if someone were to be able to, say, expedite your passport, that's something that we've actually had a Kansan report this month that they fell victim to a scam involving document retrieval. Essentially, they lost more than $100 in that pursuit. But anytime that someone sends you to a website that doesn't look like it is a government agency or government like website, that is something to be concerned with, because unfortunately there's not a lot of people in the government right now who can police that sort of activity. So we see this a lot on the scam prevention front. If you think about the FTC, most of their staff is furloughed, right? So right now they can't even collect scam reports. So understandably, scamming would explode in the wake of that.
No, you bring up a great point there. And I know something that we mentioned on our morning show today is the fact that, you know, scammers are also reaching out via social media, pretending to be family members and friends. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and maybe what people should do if they do get a message from their family member or friend, just telling them that they're in desperate need of money because of the government shutdown?
Yeah, there are a lot of sensitive hearts out there, a lot of people who really do want to do what's best to support others in their time of need. That's why we see so much scam-related activity come out in the wake of natural disasters or tragedies. It's because Americans care, right? And they want to support one another. If you do receive a communication from someone on a social channel involving a family member or friend, you want to look at that profile first and foremost. A lot of these profiles have been set up overnight, so they're not going to have that proven track record or years of existence. It's going to look like someone who doesn't have a ton of friends or a ton of active connections, who is looking to kind of weasel their way into different family trees and access different lines of credit. So if someone does communicate with you, ideally, you have their phone number. Ideally, you have an alternative means to get in touch with them if you do have questions. Most people ask some follow-up questions before they agree to spend any amount of money to support somebody if they receive a communication on a social channel. So always make sure that you're authenticating that person, connect with them directly, because it's just as easy as a few clicks, sadly, to set up a social media feed that looks exactly like your brother or a family member or a long-lost cousin. There are a lot of long-lost cousins these days.
I know, that's very true. And you know what? You touched on a great point there as well. Just that Americans are so willing to give, especially just like a natural disaster. When they see people are in need, millions of Americans in need right now, they're willing to lend that helping hand. So what can we do right now in this moment, as far as our social media is concerned, to try and keep those scammers away and keep us from falling for those scams?
Think critically about who it is that you're interacting with. I know there's a Midwestern sensibility that suggests that everyone should give everyone else the time of day. And while I think on a personal level, that's a great thing, when you're communicating with somebody online, the chances are that person doesn't live down the street from you, right? So anytime someone reaches out unsolicited, tread very carefully, just like you would if somebody, called you and you didn't expect it or you didn't have their number saved. Make sure that person is deserving of your time and trust and consideration before you agree to proceed with any conversation. Lock down, your security settings. This would be a really good time to change your password if you haven't done that. I talk to people all the time, Janae, who haven't changed their password in 10 years. And on one end, that's horrifying, but on another end, that's just 30 seconds away from being corrected, right? So try to shuffle the deck a little bit, make it harder for scammers to weasel their way into your accounts, enable things like dual factor authentication. I know we think of that as something that slows down our day, but by slowing ourselves down, we're actually protecting ourselves considerably more because it's far less likely for someone to infiltrate your account. But really think critically about who it is that you communicate with on the day to day. And just because someone reaches out to you cold doesn't mean that you need to respond with a warm answer. At best, you know exactly who you're signing up to talk with before you talk with them.
Yeah, I know those extra steps to really prove that this is your account. It definitely helps out. It helped me in a few situations. We don't have to throw it out there. But as far as changing your password, you said you have some people who haven't changed it in 10 plus years. How often should people be changing their social media passwords?
So the cybersecurity part of my brain would suggest quarterly, at least
Mm,
quarterly. I know
okay.
4 times a year sounds like a lot, right? We would settle for annually, frankly. 10
Okay.
years is a very long time to have the same password, and
Yeah.
particularly when that password is loaned out to multiple accounts. I mean, think
Hmm.
about how easy it would be if someone knew, your bank account password and then could immediately access all of your different lines of credit and your Facebook page. Nobody would sign up for that, right? So
Hmm.
please slow yourself down, create alternative passwords. If you can do it quarterly, great. If not, once a year, this would be a really good time to start.
No, definitely. And you know what? Before the holidays as well, because we know that the scams are going to continue to ramp up, unfortunately. And I know the BBB, you all have a resource that's available if people want to double check if a charity, for instance, is legitimate. Tell us a little bit more about that, Josh.
We do. If you go to give.org, we have an entire website dedicated to charity appraisal, right? A charity evaluation. So anyone who is listed on give.org, we run them through a series of variables of evaluation involving things like whether they've got a board of directors, whether they've been transparent with their finances in the past, how much of their budget goes to marketing and other expenses, things that you would want to know before you agree to make any sort of donation to any charity. It's amazing that charities are created overnight, and that's a really great thing. But most of us want our dollars to go to the charities that have proven to be trustworthy in the past and that have been transparent with customers and can actually make a difference, right, with our money. So please do your due diligence. Check out that site. It's really straightforward, and it should provide you the answers you need to make sure your money is being maximized.
Josh Planos, before I let you go, one final question for you. I know you all also received a report recently from a Kansan who lost hundreds of dollars trying to get a dog. Can you tell us a little bit more about that so that people have their guard up?
We did. We sadly had a Kansas lose $800 trying to purchase a dog from a breeder that they found online. And Janae, this story is so sad. We hear about this so regularly, particularly around the holidays when animal adoption increases considerably. You want to make sure, and some of these are going to be obvious, but I promise you, a lot of these are overlooked when you see a golden retriever or golden doodle. Those are primarily the animals that we're talking about here on Instagram that looks like it needs a home. You want to make sure that you see that dog in person. There are so many animal shelters out here that could really use your business this time of year. And you at bare minimum know that that animal exists. I promise you, it is really, really difficult to know that that business is who they say they are or that that breeder exists at all if you haven't visited them in person. And anytime a breeder demands payment through an untraceable method like a Zelle and Apple Pay,
Mhm.
peer-to-peer payment methods, that is a red flag to make note of because most reputable companies would provide a little bit more security for the customer in that transaction.
Yeah, they definitely try and get you, especially with those small, cute little doggies. So definitely be careful of that, especially as we look ahead to the holidays. Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. Josh, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you here with me for news you can use. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Janae.
Have a good one. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back in to KCTV5 Plus. We want to bring you your national news headlines now. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84. Cheney served under President George W. Bush from 2001 up until 2009. Karen Kafa reports from Washington.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84, per a statement released by his family. The statement says that Cheney died Monday night due to complications from pneumonia and also cardiac and vascular disease, and that he was with his wife, Lynn Cheney, his wife of 61 years, as well as their daughters, Mary and Liz Cheney, the former congresswoman from Wyoming, when he passed. Dick Cheney served in a number of political roles even before he became the vice president to George W. Bush in 2001. He served as White House Chief of Staff, as the only House member from the state of Wyoming, and Secretary of Defense under Bush Sr. He was tapped by George W. Bush's 2000 campaign to vet potential vice presidential candidates and ended up on the ticket himself. He redefined the role of a vice president between 2001 and 2009. He was influential, given his long political resume that balanced George W. Bush's Texas outsider image and lack of elected experience in Washington with Cheney's consummate Washington insider status. His time in office was defined by being in the White House with Bush out of town on September 11, 2001. He said the day made him a changed man, determined to avenge the al-Qaeda orchestrated attacks. He became the face and the presumed architect of the Bush administration's war in Iraq and a campaign to enforce U.S. power throughout the Middle East with a neoconservative doctrine of regime change and preemptive war. That made him a very powerful but very polarizing figure. After leaving office, he expressed no regrets. But the Republican Party changed during Cheney's years out of office, and his daughter Liz Cheney, once part of the House Republican leadership, would end up taking a strong stance against President Donald Trump and vice-chaired a committee led by Democrats investigating the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. And her father supported her. In fact, the last presidential vote that Dick Cheney cast in 2024 was for Kamala Harris, who he also endorsed, a severe rebuke against the turn the party had taken. Cheney notably suffered a number of cardiac events throughout his life, starting with a heart attack at age 37. Still, he lived a vigorous life after Washington. He loved fly fishing and other outdoor activities in his beloved state of Wyoming. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Well, it's not just here where folks are headed to the polls today. There's a set of elections that are being seen as a test for President Donald Trump and Democrats looking to oppose him in other states. All eyes are on the mayor's race in New York and the gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia. Reed Binion reports.
Here we are with the chyron that Donald Trump is endorsing Andrew Cuomo.
Democratic New York mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani on election eve, highlighting President Donald Trump's support for Mamdani's main opponent, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo.
If people want to vote for Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they should vote for Andrew Cuomo. If people want to vote for change, they should vote for me.
Cuomo, who is running as an independent after losing to Mamdani in the primary, hit his opponent on experience.
He's never had a real job. He was an assemblyman, passed 3 bills, worst attendance record in the legislature. It's all political rhetoric.
Recent polling has shown Mamdani leading Cuomo, with Republican Curtis Sliwa trailing both of them. 2 other major contests Tuesday are the elections for governor in New Jersey and Virginia.
I got news. New Jersey's not a red state. New Jersey is not a purple state. New Jersey is a blue state.
In New Jersey, Democratic Congresswoman and retired Navy helicopter pilot Mikey Sherrill is running against Republican Jack Ciattarelli.
This is not a vanity tour for me. I don't want to be congressman. I don't want to be senator. I don't want to be president. I don't want to write a book. I just want to right the ship.
Meanwhile, in the Virginia gubernatorial race, Democrat Abigail Spanberger is heavily favored to win in her contest with Republican nominee Winsome Earl Sears.
I plan on ensuring that we don't just win tomorrow, but that we crush it.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Another key vote today is the California ballot initiative to redraw the state's congressional districts. Proposition 50 is part of a larger nationwide redistricting battle between Democrats and Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterms.
Continuing on with your national news headlines today. Today marks day 35 of the federal government shutdown that ties the record for the longest ever shutdown in the United States history. The Senate is about to fail its 14th vote on the GOP's stopgap plan to reopen the government, and neither side expects substantial progress on this election day, with key races from New Jersey to California, as we just heard. However, a small group of lawmakers in Washington insists that there is momentum for trying to end the standoff as soon as this week. The impasse for both parties, health care funding.
Well, help is on the way for Americans who rely on food stamp benefits. The Trump administration yesterday said it will provide partial SNAP benefits for November amid the government shutdown. The U.S. Department of Agriculture said it will tap $4.65 billion from its contingency fund. That will cover 50% of current allotments for eligible households. Of note, however, recipients will not see the payments immediately. In court papers filed yesterday, the administration said it decided against pulling money from other sources that would provide full SNAP benefits for November. The agency has said the program costs roughly $9 billion for the month.
The Trump administration is also shifting $450 million in unused tariff revenue to keep the Women, Infants, and Children Food Assistance Program afloat into November. That's according to the National WIC Association. The move follows a $300 million infusion the program received just last month amid the government shutdown. The latest funds may cover about 3 weeks of benefits for the nearly 7 million pregnant women, new moms, and young kids who take part. But the money might run out sooner.
Well, this past weekend marked the worst for air traffic control staffing shortages since the start of the government shutdown on October 1st. That's according to the FAA's operation plans. Now, there were 98 staffing trigger reports at FAA facilities between Friday morning and Sunday night, which means air traffic controllers had to alter operations to keep the airspace safe with fewer people working. Alterations can include rerouting planes or delaying flights. According to the FAA, a surge in controllers calling out on Halloween strained staffing at half of the 30 largest airports in the country. Air traffic controllers are considered essential staff and must work during the government shutdown despite not getting paid. And I actually did some traveling over the weekend and went to Reagan National Airport, which is pretty busy. I traveled on Thursday, and as soon as I landed, thank goodness, is when I saw a report that they had issued a 90-minute ground stop there.
Not thank goodness for the people that were stuck there.
Yeah, that was selfish.
Get out. Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. But even coming back yesterday, though, it was fine. There was no line at security.
But it's just a matter of keeping your fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
Because you just don't know. And so that's what a lot of people don't want to deal with, especially, Taylor, as we look ahead to Thanksgiving happening later on this month. A lot of people, I know most people typically drive during that holiday, or for that holiday, but a lot of people will be taking to the skies as well. So we'll be sure to keep people posted on that.
And every year they say it's a new record, it's a new record, it's a new record of travelers. So
we'll have to see what happens this year.
Yeah, hopefully it ends by then. We'll see.
Well, speaking of November, something that's set to happen this month, this week to be exact, the full moon is as close as it can be to Earth this week, marking the closest supermoon of 2025. Supermoons hang low and appear big and bright on the horizon, especially just after the sunset. The moon will reach peak fullness at 8:19 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's tomorrow. November's supermoon marks a time when some of the first snow appears in the northern parts of the United States as well as Canada. And in case you missed this one, the next supermoon arrives in exactly 1 month on December 4th. So I'll be looking forward to this. I know Warren mentioned it this morning and I was like half asleep. I was like, what? Now I got it.
They said they could, I guess it was like a big full moon they could see like right before sunrise. But you said like 8 in the morning we could see this
8:19
tomorrow. Okay.
So
be looking.
We'll have to keep an eye to the sky.
All right.
Alrighty, well that'll do it for your national news headlines. Take a look at this.
Everyone have a good Halloween? Great! Moving on! Thanksgiving is up next, so no time like the present to start all that holiday hoopla and hullabaloo. What can I say? Americans love a good holiday, and we have such short attention spans we can't even finish, "Hey, cool, Buzz Lightyear!" What was I saying? Oh, right. Macy's lifted the veil on their annual Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon lineup to give a first look at some brand new balloons that will be flying high over one of the Big Apple's biggest celebrations. WCBS reports the preview went down, or should I say up, at the annual Balloon Fest event in New Jersey. Volunteer handlers did a test float of kooky new characters including Mario, Shrek, Buzz Lightyear, and Pac-Man. Speaking of characters, The Ohio State University got right to the point, breaking a pointy hat world record of sorts, and they did it all for their beloved mascot, Brutus Buckeye. For Brutus's birthday, nearly 2,000 people met in a university gym to attempt a world record for the largest gathering of people wearing conical party hats. Oh, it's a record, all right. And according to the Guinness judges that were on hand, it's now OSU's record. The gathered 1,924 hat-wearing students, faculty, and supporters were more than enough to break the previous record held since 2019. Finally, this last one may not be a record, but I'm going to go on the record and say this crazy double lotto winning story is one of the weirdest you may have heard. According to the Ohio Lottery, a Roseville man that had already won $50 on a best of 7 scratch-off forgot his winning ticket at home when he went to cash it in, so just for kicks, he decided to buy another best of 7 ticket and ended up winning $500,000 on the spot. 7 is certainly one lucky number for this charmed player, who's now $500,000 plus $50 richer. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, thanks for staying with us right here on KCTV5 Plus. I will have to say this is arguably me and Janae's favorite day.
Oh my
It
gosh, that makes me so happy.
What's trending?
And you just came up with a new title. What's Tea with Evanie on this Tuesday? Because she brings it all. She brings it all. Okay, Evanie, let's jump into it.
Yes.
Sexiest man alive today.
Who?
Did you not get the what's
Show
tea with Evanie?
I didn't get the tea.
So Jonathan Bailey, who was in Wicked,
Okay.
apparently, because when I first heard about this, when people first released it last night, I was like, who is that? But he was on Wicked, or in the movie Wicked.
Isn't he on Bridgerton too?
Yes, he is. I was getting ready to Google it.
Okay.
What else is he in? He's in Bridgerton, and he was in Wicked. So, what character he is in Wicked, I don't know. I can't tell you. But he has been named the sexiest man alive for 2025.
My question about this, is there a vote? Who makes these decisions?
Because apparently you do not agree. You're just being politically correct. You know, he's not my cup of tea, but he is a handsome man.
He is handsome.
He just
yeah.
gives me a little mouse vibes. But
Ooh.
okay, Mr. Bridgerton, that's where I know him from. I think Wicked, he was maybe like
I am really trying to hold it together. With
I
you
think
saying
Wicked,
that.
he played something with Ariana Grande, like
Was
maybe
he a
the love
prince or
interest.
something?
You know what? I
think
think
so.
yeah, I think he is the love interest for Glenda. Yes,
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Okay, that's okay. So he's been named the sexiest. I don't remember who took the title last year. Do you guys?
I'm still stuck on Blake Shelton. So
I thought you were gonna say John Legend. I'm still stuck on John.
And John Legend, he is not an ugly man, but
No.
he's
He's Chrissy's husband. He's Chrissy's husband.
okay, Chrissy, we don't want to smoke with you. Let's move on.
Yes,
Okay, so what else is
Next
going
story.
on with Hillary Duff? She's in the headlines today.
Yes, Hillary Duff. We haven't heard that name in a really long time. Okay, so Frankie Muniz, if you remember, Malcolm in the Middle, he was on a podcast, and I had no idea that they were besties. Hillary Duff was actually his best friend when he first moved to LA, but he revealed in the podcast that her mom kind of made their relationship go south. He claimed that her mom is like the ultimate stage mom, like the definition. And he said that Hillary and her mom went behind his back, and that's how she got her role in the movie Agent Cody Banks. If you remember that movie from back in the day. Yeah, and so he was so upset because the mom kind of dropped the bomb on him that they were going to be hanging out all summer long, and he was like, well, what's happening? I didn't know about this. And it kind of rubbed him the wrong way. And so right after the movie wrapped, he never spoke to her ever again. 23 years later.
What?
I said, pick up the phone. Make a phone call, but
seriously,
Let it go, Frankie.
let it go, yeah. But you want to know what? They're in two separate places, and I kind of feel like Hillary is saying shots fired because she's releasing a new single, and it's called Mature. And on the cake where she's doing the promo, it says, you're so mature, something like that on the cake. And the single drops on Thursday, so I'm wondering if it has any reference to Frankie, but
Or if it's just interesting timing.
yeah, interesting timing, a little shady.
it has reference
Is
to him.
Frankie
I'm
even
calling it
doing
out right
anything
now.
He's a race car driver.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. So when I was looking up this video, I saw NASCAR a lot, and I'm like, why am I seeing NASCAR? But yeah, apparently he's a race car driver.
Well, shout out to Hillary Duff because I loved me some Lizzie McGuire.
I just don't like her singing like yesterday.
On a Saturday night.
No.
Wait, how does she sound, Evanie?
So yesterday. You want to know what? That song, that motivated me that I could be a pop star. It kind of angered me because I'm like, you don't have to have any musical talent. Hey now.
Stop. That's my movie.
I have
Okay.
it on VHS.
So moving along, Britney Spears also back in the headlines. What's going on with her?
Yeah, so the last time that I came here, I told you guys that Britney Spears, she was going back and forth with her ex-baby daddy, Kevin Federline, after he was making claims in his new memoir that he's been pumping around and making the rounds for. It dropped October the 21st, and he kind of gave us insight on his perception of how Britney was as a parent. And then Britney went on an Instagram rant, and she was talking about how she had brain damage and she was an angel with clipped wings. It was just a very bizarre rant.
Yeah.
Also talking about her conservatorship. And so now when we go to Britney Spears' Instagram, I believe she has like at least 46 million people who follow her, maybe even more.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Wow.
And that's the way that fans
wow.
knew that something was going on with her conservatorship, when all of a sudden things would go weird, or weird things would be posted on her Instagram. And so she's gone dark. Where's Britney? What's going on? There's always something going on with Britney. I always worry about her, and I'm so sad. I never thought that we would come to this point where she's just not mentally well. I know people were screaming from the top of their lungs, free Britney. She does, I feel like, need a little bit of some type of guidance in her life, but I just hope that my girl gets it together. Maybe one day.
I really feel for her.
So sad to see, especially like with these old clips circulating of her old performances and her videos, and just like who she used to be at the height of her career. It's just so sad. My thoughts and prayers go out to her.
Mine
No,
as well.
for sure. Okay, so let's move along. Gayle King, our
Okay.
CBS queen.
Exactly.
Was like, I saw the TMZ video.
Gayle was like,
Not here
this
for
is
it.
news to me, because Variety magazine, which is a pretty reputable source, they're saying that sources are telling them that Gayle King, her contract is up in the springtime, and that she would be stepping down or, you know, getting a different type of role over there at CBS Mornings. And Gayle was like, excuse me, I know nothing about this. The last time I spoke to, you know, the head honchos, they were happy with my performance at CBS, and I'm not going anywhere. But also, is this truth, or is she trying to cover up that she didn't want us to know her next moves? Because a lot of times when celebrities, things leak, they come up with a story to try and hide it, and then after a while we find out, oh, this was actually the big plan that they just didn't want us to know, which I understand. You want to make sure that all your eggs are lined up before you make your next moves, but I love Gayle King. She's been there for quite some time. She's had quite a few co-hosts, and she's been a staple there. So
yeah, I mean, this isn't a new thing. I feel like I also heard this last year that like her contract would be up in the air, but it was reported last week really as if it were fact when CBS
Variety,
did the layoffs and everything. And I read Variety every day, so I'm seeing it and I'm thinking, okay, this must be legit. But hey, came straight from the horse's mouth.
Came straight from the horse's mouth. She said she's not going to go back and forth with the public opinion and also press. So Gayle set us straight. We just have to wait and see.
She said what she said. And shout out to Gayle, because she used to work in this market in
Yes,
Kansas
she
City.
did. Gayle.
And she went to University of Maryland like me.
Look at that. Look at that. We love it.
Alrighty, so let's move along. Ridiculousness. This used to be my show.
You're not a fan?
This used to be my show. I didn't know it was still on,
Janae,
though.
I used to love the show too. Like, I had nothing to do on the weekends. I would switch on Ridiculousness.
It was the only thing that was on. I'm like, there's got to be other programming.
I know, but it was a good show. 46 seasons, and it's come to an end. And you want to know what? I always said that I wanted Chanel West Coast's job, because what a job. You sit on that red couch next to CeeLo Brim, and you just laugh. She's making millions of dollars. You go, girl. But it was the longest running show in MTV's history. It actually premiered in 2011.
That is crazy.
Very crazy. And this show was actually on for 116 hours of MTV's lineup. There's 168 hours in total.
That's what I'm saying.
That is crazy.
That was just
I know,
too
but
much.
the videos were good.
They're hilarious.
That's like Below Deck on Bravo. I feel like every time I turn on Bravo, Below Deck is on. There's more.
There is more, but let's get into Rob Dyrdek's paycheck. If you remember, he was, I believe, BMX, and also, he's a skateboarder. Extreme sports. That's where we know him from originally, but now we know him as the ridiculousness guy. $32 million. He has built an empire. He was making $32 million a year. He was making $21,000 just to be a producer, an executive producer on the show, and $66,000 to be an on-camera personality host. So
well, good for him.
Good for him.
I see my future straight ahead.
Absolutely. Get that money.
Good
but
I see the possibilities.
You know, MTV/Viacom, they did a merger with another company. I believe they just did it for $8 million, which that's a pretty low ball amount for MTV. And what MTV means a lot to us, but I think for younger generations, it's not that big of a deal. I hate to say that, but MTV, no more music videos, no more original content, and they are leaning towards different types of programming. I don't know what that is.
No more MTV Cribs.
No more MTV Cribs.
They had Becoming. Do you remember the show called Becoming?
I remember it
where
all.
they would like
My
redo
Sweet
the music
16.
videos. My Super Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Oh my goodness.
Or what
I used
about
to want it
the
to be on that
video?
show so
Hey, if
bad.
you want to really take it back, Brandy, she was one of the first
She
reality
had a reality
stars.
show. She was pregnant on that
What
show.
was it called?
Oh my God. It was like Special Delivery Brandy.
Yes.
Because
And-
Ray J also had it. Was it on VH1?
No, Ray J was on VH1.
Okay.
Okay.
Hip-hop.
Yeah, but if you have to remember, Brandy, that was so not scandalous, but
'Cause she was
remember,
fake married,
she was
right?
fake married. She
What?
got pregnant when she was
Mhm.
19 years old, and they wanted to cover it up because she
Yeah.
had such a squeaky clean image. So they came out with this reality show to cover everything up.
I think that MTV also gave us Chicken of the Sea.
No,
Nick Lachey.
that was the
and
Newlyweds.
Jessica
Yeah,
Simpson.
Jessica Simpson.
So
Nick
that,
Lachey.
from there.
is funny.
We have some moments on MTV, so I'm sad to see it go. But on to bigger
Iconic
and better
shows leaving.
The ridiculousness
Yes.
channel. Hit my ride. Remember
Basically,
Hit My
Ooh,
Ride?
I used to watch that
Yes.
too. I love that show.
Eliminators.
Yes.
Punk'd,
Next.
all those
Oh my
shows
Hey,
with
what
Ashton
about Spring
Kutcher.
Break?
Yes,
Oh my
we're
goodness.
just naming them
And
all.
I was so excited to grow up and go to spring break, and
It was nothing
gone.
like that.
It's done
nothing
for.
like that. True Life, man.
Ooh,
Oh,
that
True
was a
Life.
good one too.
Ebony, oh my
16 and
gosh.
pregnant. Yep,
Oh,
all of
16
them.
and pregnant. Oh
Okay,
my
Ebony,
goodness.
we're getting off track here. So remind our viewers where they can follow you on social media.
Yes, you can follow me on X, Instagram, and TikTok at It's Bingy Baby, and you can listen to me every single day on Power 105.1 from 3 until 7. I got lots of holiday prizes to get to, so make sure you guys tune in.
We're jumping into the holidays. I might be
those
one
new
of those
edition
callers. I might be calling Ebony this afternoon. All righty. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after the break.
right, thank you for staying with us right here on KCTV5 Plus. Taylor Johnson for Travel Tuesday. We are getting a look at some aerial photos of the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica, a destination that many people travel to for their weddings, for vacations, to visit family. And as we see, the island has been left devastated. We've even talked to some folks here in our area who have family there, and people from our area too who were stuck in Jamaica there on vacation. And of course, we have our friend with us today, April Cowan of Travel Passion, here to talk with us just about what we've been experiencing. So good to have you back, April. It's been a while.
Thank you. It has been a while. I have missed you guys. I miss being in studio.
Yes, well, I'm sure we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being here with us. So I know that in your work, you work a lot with folks who travel to Jamaica. I know you said recently you had some clients who were there.
Absolutely. Jamaica is actually my top destination. And I would say I send probably about 30% of my entire client base is traveling to Jamaica. So we're very familiar with the area. We have friends in Jamaica and vendors that we work with for weddings and getaways. And so our heart goes out to them. This was devastating. And I've been in contact with several of my friends who are locals who live and run businesses in Jamaica. And it's just ultimately been devastating for the locals. However, people are not giving them the resilience, the credit for the resilience that they have, and understand that this is a tropical area, and the tropical storms and hurricanes are something that you can never really be prepared for. They have a form or some preparation that has allowed them to stay resilient and hopeful.
And resilience really is key at a time like this, because I know tourism is a big part of Jamaica and just how they operate there. So I'm in some Facebook groups for women who travel, and I believe I saw that I don't know if it was Hilton or Marriott, one of those groups had put out that some resorts would be closed until early next year.
Yes, so we are expecting several resorts to close down for renovation. If you are a client that is booked at some of these resorts, hopefully you do have travel protection that you can file a claim if it's non-refundable. In most cases, it's going to be early enough for you to also just cancel that reservation and possibly get like a future travel credit or something of that nature. We do have to keep in mind, and I always keep in mind with my clients, that this is hurricane season in the Caribbean. So we anticipate this sort of weather in the months of October and November in the Caribbean as a whole. My husband and I actually went on our honeymoon during Hurricane Matthew in Jamaica in 2016. So this is something that a travel advisor should also make you aware of. Hurricanes, storms, unpredictable. If we see them coming, if we know that they're expected to hit landfall while you're in destination, then theoretically speaking, we should be doing our due diligence to prepare you for that or offer options for you to rebook and reschedule.
And so just talking about, knowing in advance about just hurricane season and there being a possibility that these things can happen. What are some of the things that you offer? Does travel insurance help if it's a situation where they have to cancel? Or say you have a client who's there and they're stuck. What can you do about that?
So absolutely. Travel insurance is something that you'd have to sign a waiver with my company, Travel Passion, to travel international without it. I automatically include it in all packages for situations like this, whether you're in destination and now you have what we would call post-departure protection, or rather you've not left yet for your destination and we have pre-departure protection, one allowing you to cancel and retain some of your funds, and then the other is going to reimburse you in the incident you suffer losses of property, time of your stay that you've paid for, and other issues that may or may not have been expected or avoidable. I will always encourage a client to take that additional payment to have travel protection. Now, all things aren't going to be covered, but it gives you some resemblance or some sense of security while you're traveling out of the country. An example, say you were injured during the storm and you have medical expenses that you can now file a claim to get reimbursed for. Small things like that are really important and often not thought of in advance.
And so, say for instance, well, you said that you and your husband were in Jamaica during Hurricane Matthew. How long were you there? What did you do during that time? Did you end up being stuck for a while?
We were not stuck for a while. We watched as the resort boarded up all of the windows. They boarded up all of the doors. Alcohol was no longer available. It's an all-inclusive resort. And in the case of evacuation, you want to have some patience because they don't want to have to evacuate thousands of highly intoxicated adults from a resort during a hurricane. So one of the things that I have seen in some of the media coverage is the just blatant panic of guests who are visiting and not allowing the resort staff to do their job in a way that was protecting everyone involved. When we were in Hurricane Matthew, restaurants were shut down. We all had to be in one area of the resort until the danger of the storm had passed. And then the infrastructure of the building that we were in, which was more low villa style, those buildings are not getting the bulk of it. Whereas some of the taller skyline type resorts, they're getting a huge amount of wind damage. Now with Hurricane Matthew, that was the case. That was the difference from Matthew to Melissa, is that the winds were just very, very aggressive in 2016. And so we saw windows busted out, furniture that was strewn, but based on a country who's, again, very resilient, and so much of their economy is funded by tourism, they were very quick to get those things rectified.
Mm-hmm. And, as you were comparing the two storms, you also have to keep in mind that this is the first time a Category 5 storm has hit that island. So it was pretty significant.
It was very significant. I actually have a good friend and business partner who owns a activity called the Rasta Safari, and I've sent hundreds of clients to this activity. And it's a village in the mountains, and they're very modest people. And this activity, which is riding through their village and really connecting with the locals, it's a wonderful experience. This experience has been demolished. The village has been demolished. He's contacted me directly and just said, we're devastated. And we're doing everything that we can here at Travel Passion to help raise funds to help different places in Jamaica and across the Caribbean that we have partnerships with.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Just seeing people's livelihoods be taken away in an instant. But as you mentioned, they are resilient. So knowing that they're working to rebuild and get things open back up, once these resorts and these attractions are operating again, do you think that there will be a change in pricing? Will it be more expensive? Will it be the same as before? What are your predictions when it comes to that?
I think that from a consumer perspective, that we typically see a lag in tourism after an area has been hit by a storm. We saw it with Puerto Rico. We've seen it with Jamaica before and other Caribbean islands, because the faith that all of the amenities and all of the activities that you would expect, there's doubt now that what will we be able to do? Will everything be up and running? And so a lot of times we do see a decline in those areas. I actually have a destination wedding in Jamaica in March, and my bride is right now considering, will they be up and running? One of the things that I'd advise anyone to do first and foremost is check the area that you're scheduled to stay in and see if that area has sustained large amounts of damage or some minimal damage that can be repaired prior to your arrival into the country. The other thing to keep in mind is the type of vacation that you were looking to have. And if you were looking to get off and do a lot of things off of the resort in areas that may have been impacted, you do want to give them time to get back up to speed. However, you'd be surprised at what you can still do after something like this and how quickly the country will bounce back. I'd recommend contacting your travel advisor and or the booking engine that you used to see what you qualify for as it pertains to changing your dates. If your travel is very soon, if your travel is 5 to 6 months out, I think that we can expect Jamaica to, in the tourist sector, really recover quicker than a lot of people expect.
It'll be amazing to see that because, I mean, I'm going to play this video again, just looking at the devastation there. It's like, oh my goodness, how can you bounce back from that,
If you don't bounce back quickly, you're right. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Keep going.
But you don't bounce back super quickly. But what you definitely will see is that this area is a residential area. So these are the homes primarily of the locals, and they are who are 100% suffering the most. The tourist sector, you're talking about buildings that have been reinforced. It is the locals, but we also have to keep in mind that many of these locals work in an area that is benefited from tourism. So by still visiting the country and those dollars, we're essentially also funding the employment and the overall employment and ability to rebuild from those locals. If the work declines and the damage is still there, right, then now you have a double-edged sword because they can't earn the money for the repairs because tourism drops and maybe their employer doesn't have them come in. Another thing to keep in mind is that many of the tourist areas are going to have sister resorts. So maybe the resort you are going through to is going to be undergoing now repairs. That company may very well have a sister resort whose repairs are minimal and move people around, move guests around as needed. So I think that that's something to keep in mind. But you're absolutely right. The devastation in the residential area and to the locals of Jamaica is just unheard of. It's so unfortunate, and they are very much on an island alone.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to also just kind of give credit to the folks that are working on these resorts. I've seen some people post, some people who are in Jamaica, just giving kudos to the staff on the resorts for just the work that they're doing and keeping folks calm, especially when they have their own families and their own things going on as it relates to the hurricane. But they're still, on the resort doing their job, making sure that the guests are being taken care of, as they have been going through this. All right, I think April might have froze up on us, everybody, but she did give us some really useful information. So with that said, we are going to, oh, there you go. You're back. I was getting ready to cut to break.
we're frozen. Okay, we're back. Yay.
We are back. Because I said what I said, and then it got quiet, and I was like, wait a minute.
Right. Yep. I think we were frozen for a minute.
Yes.
Piggybacking off of what I did hear you say, absolutely. We have got to give credit and show grace to the employees of these establishments who would much rather, I'm sure, be at home with their families, helping to keep them calm. And they are committed to the overall safety of the guests of their country as well as their individual safety. And so they are working overtime to make up for the experience that these travelers expected to have, and Mother Nature had another plan in mind. I do think that we as a people, this is a great opportunity to show grace, understanding, and patience, and that everyone is going to be doing their best.
Yes, and the best under these circumstances is all they can do, but I know that it's great because, there's this, I'm going on a tangent real quick, but there's this book, the 4 Agreements, and one of the 4 Agreements is to always do your best, and they say that your best, it changes depending on the situation that you're in. So they are for sure doing the very best that they can with what they have.
For that fluctuation. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Taylor. Yes. And I am so happy that this is something that we're speaking about, not just the devastation, but the people who are impacted that are still there working to ensure that the visitors are having a great time, and to really, like you said, give them their kudos in addition to the medical staff and the volunteers and the law enforcement. There are people in tourism who are working double time and overtime to ensure that the guests are still feeling safe and helping them get home.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for just all of this useful
Thank
information that
you.
you've given us. We can all apply it, and it's just something to help make us think, especially for the future. Because, like you said, you never know when something like this can happen. So, thank you, April.
Thank you. And if I can add one thing, especially for my travel passion clients who have sent to Jamaica or to the Caribbean, if you are looking for a place or a way to donate, please go to our website at www.travelwithpassion.biz. We are going to have some links to some of the very experiences that I've booked you to attend that are now suffering and would appreciate a donation for you to help them rebuild.
Awesome. And love that you're giving back as well. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
And we will be
Thank
talking
you.
with you again soon.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will see you soon. We have so much to catch up on. I still need to talk to you about Morocco.
I
So we have
know.
so much to catch up on.
Can't wait for that. And with that, we will take a break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back in on this Tuesday morning. We're just a few minutes away from our noon newscast. So, of course, we have to end things off here with Taylor and also with me talking about food.
It's us.
Our favorite thing to talk about.
I don't know about this, though.
Yeah, this one's a little
questionable.
We'll get into it. So it's what you get when you cross Oreos with Thanksgiving. Oreos is launching its 6 new Thanksgiving themed flavors. Those flavors include turkey and stuffing, sweet potato, and creamed corn. There's also caramel apple pie, pumpkin pie, and cranberry sauce, which I cannot stand cranberry sauce.
I love cranberry sauce out the can. Oh, it's so good.
Each Oreo cookie is covered in fudge, as you can see here, that's infused with one of the 6 flavors. The cookies come in a limited edition Oreo-shaped tin, which includes 12 cookies, 2 of each flavor. The Thanksgiving-flavored Oreos are only available through the Oreo website.
Because they know better than to put that in the store. Because ain't nobody going to buy that. I'm not.
Oh, my goodness. You know, I feel like we're really trying to get creative here.
They're out of ideas. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the jelly beans from Harry Potter, where it's just like any flavor of just anything.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not a Harry Potter person. You know this.
They had like these jelly beans and it would be like earwax flavor.
Ew.
Just like random stuff where it's like, why?
Okay, well, back to this. So I touched on the fact I do not like cranberry sauce, so it's already grossing me out there.
Cream corn
wrapped
in fudge
and an Oreo.
Yeah,
it's
even the pumpkin pie is
stuffing.
Questionable.
Yeah, we don't like it, but if you love it,
order it.
It's here for you. Very interesting as we look ahead to the holidays. And you know what? They know what they're doing because they're getting people talking, Taylor, which is exactly why we pulled this into our show today.
I like the tin though, like.
Yeah, that's
Oreo
something
tin.
like that. You could keep that, right? And put
Yeah.
other stuff in there. We always love stuff like that. Reusable, right?
So we'll buy the cookies.
Yeah,
but
and then we'll give them away. We'll put them right here in the newsroom, and I guarantee you they will
Somebody
eat
will
it.
try it.
They will eat it. No questions asked. They'll go for it. All right, we are just a few minutes away from our noon newscast. We want to thank you so much for joining us here on KCTV5 Plus. To start off your Tuesday, or maybe you're ending your day like we are. But we will meet you right back here tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday with Latrice Kabuya, one of our favorite days.
Yes.
To kick things off, 10 a.m. to noon. So,
All right.
Taylor, any final words?
Well, be sure to go out and vote today. If you are in Kansas and Missouri, we have our voter guide on KCTV5.com with everything you need to know. Polls close in both states at 7, and we are going to have an update in our noon newscast. Our Nathan Brennan was live this morning at one of the polling locations where he says that the folks are coming out and there is a lot to decide on. And don't forget your ID. You need that.
That's right. All right. And again, you can head over to our website, KCTV5.com. And again, our coverage here at KCTV5, it is just getting started. Katie Bird, as well as Lauren Magarino and Brad Stevens, they'll all be right here on KCTV5 Plus to bring you extended coverage regarding the election day. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and Taylor and I will meet you right back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Have a good one.
See ya.